This is my fourth artist I'm looking at. This is Nigel Wingrove. He is a filmmaker. He's made lots and lots of films. He's done um, films that are kind of anti-censorship sort of films, but he's done Scarred Flesh. He did Satanic Sluts. He did Visions of Ecstasy. He did the Susie and the Banshees film as well. He's very into his like dark gothic things, and he's very anti-censorship. He doesn't like for example, there are UK blasphemy laws that were in that he got taken out into that he got them to repeal in 2008 because they were stopping things. So he's one of the forefronters of expression, because one of the things is the UK bans a lot of things, like they banned The Exorcist, and then they took it back, and then they brought it in. They had these blacklisted films you couldn't watch, and he's the person that said, look, this is not fair, because you can see artwork that's depicting violent, horrible acts, and you can see documentaries, but you can't watch like these films. So like Evil Dead was not allowed, even though they're all supposed to be funny, and they're just supposed to be comedic, and a lot of the laws were against that. And he was one of the people to try and transition, and this is what I think links so well. He transitioned a whole country's law because he wanted to people to be able to see these kind of quote unquote like blasphemous things that it's just art. Like that was his thing. It's art. Like you can see this sort of thing in a museum. You can see horrible, grotesque images that are supposedly beautiful because they have this kind of hierarchy of what was seen as more important if it was like a film compared to an oil painting done in the Renaissance. And he thought that that was silly, so he tried to change our laws in that. And why I like his actual artwork and why I knew him originally was from he's also into his black metal and the band Cradle of Filth that came from Suffolk and Ipswich. He did some of their artwork for their album art, but he's the guy who did one of the most kind of repeated, like people try and repeat it, but it's impossible, and it is so simple, and it's very kind of British in its approach, because it's so very like plain. But he designed the shirt, which was the Cradle of Filth shirt, and it was the he did the shirt this on the back of it says Jesus is a cunt, just on the back, and that, and on the front of it is a picture that he did for it, which is a nun masturbating using a crucifix. And he just, that started a whole just banning that shirt, and then that shirt became expensive because people wanted it, and it was just a shirt, and all it was is just like the only people that were wearing it were kind of just like teenagers, because that was Cradle of Filth's main that was their main sort of like target audience. And him making that shirt was like the reason I know him, because he got in such a like a that people trying to ban this object that's just said words on it. And it's really interesting to look at like people trying to sue from it, and all sorts. But he was a really good designer when it just came to like art and filmography. Like his career with films, he has done like a lot of stuff that isn't kind of is not stuff that was successful but has a cult following. He's very clever. I think his stuff to do transition, because he transitioned whole laws and countries, and he links back to things that I knew about just as like an average teenager in the UK. And he has a very British approach to things, and he, though he's a filmmaker, he's done lots and lots of different things. So he also did like the Purple Haze like documentary, and as I said, he did that Susie and the Banshee thing. So he does like normal things, but then he also does his like his films like Sisters of Armageddon, and he did kind of like those more like out there things. And I think he's very clever, and he's still about doing this thing. He's obviously doesn't do as much, but I think he's very relevant to what I like. And I think one of the things I want to take from him is using his kind of, it's harder now because we've pushed what is acceptable, and I think that's a great thing. But he did it in a good way that didn't really hurt anyone apart from the people who were trying to hurt him originally. I just want to take his kind of funny, very British attitude um of like how he kind of made horrific things, and horrific things are funny, and I think that's why I like it. And that's my artist I've looked at, who I think really fits into what I want to do with my artwork.